Excellent, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of Self CAV. Super excited to be hanging out with you every single week. I'm actually screaming inside. You guys don't see it, but I am. I'm swooning. I think that's the word. I'm also excited to be hanging out with you guys every single week, intersecting faith, relationships, growth, and culture. Yeah. How are you guys feeling?
I'm good. I'm in good spirits. I think, especially after having a little bit of a up and down type of a year, this is something exciting to kind of look forward to. Something that I'm keen to kind of unpack a little bit with regards to you guys, just to get to know you a little bit more, but also trying to find out what other people are thinking and how their brains are working, and what we can kind of look forward to and what we can learn together as well.
Yeah.
So very excited.
Sech?
I mean, I'm also excited. It's really just one of those things where instead of talking about India fatigue, I'm going to be talking about a new venture fatigue. And it, like in conversation, I just know it's something that allows me to grow and to be doing it on the platform.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things for me. Yeah.
100%. So we actually messed up, but I'm not going to get into that. But I was saying previously, when I thought of all of this, right? Because somebody's probably watching this and thinking, how on earth is Thabang, Miss Cosmo, and Sechaba on one platform? But for me, it's a thing of, I think ideas need to be tested. I think a lot of people have ideas, a lot of people have thoughts, but it just remains that thoughts and ideas. So I had this idea for a very long time, and through iteration, one was able to enhance it. And I think what better way to do it than with other people as well. There's something that I liked saying when I was in varsity, and that is, don't make the walls higher, make the table longer. And I think for me, it's also an opportunity for all of us at some point, to eat, whether it's monetary, whatever the case may be, to just grow in all those aspects. So that's number one. Number two, I think dialogue, talking, brings context and understanding. I kid you not, I feel the most connected to my wife, to my friends, my loved ones, when I get to talk to them.
100%.
You know what I mean? But when there's that gap, there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of things lost in translation. And people just assume, like a lot. So I think this platform is going to do exactly that. We're going to gain context. We're going to gain understanding through the different conversations that we're going to be having.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm interested to find out, what made you reach out? What made you reach out as well?
Well, outside of the post that you had put up on Instagram, I think for me it was also just an interesting opportunity for me to, like you say, engage, share ideas, share concepts, share thoughts and ideas. But also for me, just also kind of break away from the actual idea of who Miss Cosmo is, the DJ, but also to kind of figure me out as a human being, learn new things from other people. I think that's exactly how people learn, is through experience, but also learning through other people's experiences, but also, kind of sharing ideas and different ways of thoughts. People are going through different things in life. And I think this is a certain platform where we're able to kind of break down some of those barriers, figure other ways of tackling certain issues as well. But also just, coming together and having a conversation, which I think is interesting for me. So I kind of wanted to put myself in a position where I could at least be able to do that and explore something new.
Do you think people have boxed you?
100%. It's so boring.
And I think that's what, because, I got a lot of hits, to be honest with you, when I put out the social media post. But when you reached out, I thought to myself, Miss Cosmo, even myself, I think I was guilty of that. I thought, DJ, artist, musician, etc. But then something said to me, there's probably another side to her. And that is what I was interested in.
Yeah, 100%. I think people do that quite often because, like you mentioned earlier, that people assume if you don't give them context. And I think this is my opportunity to kind of give people a little bit more context as to who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, people do know me previously from my old podcast as well, the Popcast.
Yeah.
But I still, even there, don't think people knew me as a person in my thought process.
Yeah.
But rather understood where I am from a cultural and music perspective,
Yeah.
and what I thought about pop culture and what I thought about music and entertainment space, but not necessarily from a personal position, not from a faith position, not from a educational position or an intellectual position.
Yeah.
So I think for me, this is my opportunity to then show a different side of me, which is not only focused on music and pop culture. So yeah, I think for me, it was just about, okay, well, let's try something new. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Definitely is going to work.
Definitely
is going to work.
We're here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sech.
I mean, for me, bro, like, I'll go back to what you're saying about testing ideas.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer of testing ideas. If anything, I'm a firm believer of, like, the greatest diversity we have is ideas, not of racial and other things. You know.
Wait,
And
what do you mean by that?
we have more ideas that are diverse than we have in terms of race or other things. So, and I feel like most of the time when we talk about diversity, we're thinking about those things which are a few versus ideas.
Sure.
We're probably sitting on 100 ideas, she's probably sitting on 100.
Yeah, you
on
too.
100. So we're more diverse in ideas, and that's why I want to expose myself to spaces and places that offer me the privilege to exercise. I have a company called Sech Concept. So it's I've always been a lover of concepts. So when I saw that thing, I was like, there's an opportunity for me to explore a concept. I wasn't even aware who else is going to be on it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just an opportunity for me, man. Like, I see it as an opportunity. I was telling you the other day, I'm more excited than anything that I get to sit with people with ideas, talk about ideas, challenge ideas and all of those things. And for me personally, I feel like the best way to grow or allow myself to grow is conversation. Yeah, and I find myself not having enough conversations, so I'm like, I'm definitely gonna try and have more conversations now.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, so I think maybe let's also give a structure of the podcast. I'm a radio guy, so, in radio they talk about features and segments. So on the podcast every week, this is what you can expect. We have First Things First, which is basically what we just did right now. Life updates, light updates, sort of like an icebreaker of some sort. Then from there, we move on to what's popping. So we're basically looking at world culture stories, pop culture stories, basically anything and everything that's interesting around the world, in and around the world. And we give feedback, we comment on that, right? And then I think my favorite, which is the last segment, will then be the spotlight. And this is where we spotlight one of the themes of the podcast. Remember, the themes are faith, relationships, self-development, and I think world culture, pop culture.
What's with this thing of world culture, bro?
Dude, I again, Miss Cosmo is running away from... Noni's running away from pop culture, so I'm just wording it differently. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, look, I'm not running away from it. I don't have an issue talking about pop culture. I just don't want it to be the only thing I talk about.
Nah,
Correction.
That's what I meant. Yes.
That.
Yeah, because to say world culture just sounds.
I hear you. I hear you. I don't even think.
But world culture could actually be the thing, because pop culture is talking about music, entertainment, whatever kind of gets us excited. But world culture could also be whatever's happening politically, or could be financial, or it could be just general news where we're like, "Aibo, when's our land?" Do you know what I mean?
Like that,
Yes, general news. I like what she said,
Yeah.
because I was reading, I think, yesterday, and I was telling this to my wife. There's a lady in Brazil, I don't know if you guys know this. She caught her husband watching porn.
I thought you were gonna say BBL. Okay.
What?
I thought you were gonna say saying BBL.
So she caught the husband watching porn, and what she did is she killed him. It's bizarre, I know. She killed him, but that's not all. She then made a bean stew. And in the bean stew was the husband's genitals.
Hectic.
Yo.
She could have just chopped them off and didn't have to kill him. I mean,
But was he not gonna die?
I don't think he's
No.
surviving that.
no,
Right?
he would have been fine. He would have continued to live his life.
If
There's
it's-
many men who've been castrated before.
Yeah, but
and
if it's
and
surgical,
still
then
breathing.
I think
Yeah, but then I need to. She would have cut them off and then sent him to the hospital. They would have patched him up, and life would have continued.
sounds
He
wild.
didn't have to die.
He's so
sounds-
optimistic,
That
eh?
just sounds wild.
Hey, brighter side.
But did she eat the stew?
I think so.
She must have served it to someone. But also, okay, I think she was a little bit extreme with that because watching porn and murder are way extreme ideas.
That's crazy.
And porn can be dealt with. I don't think it's something that you necessarily have to die over. She could have had a conversation with him. She could have divorced him. She could have.
Just walked away.
There's 10 other options that she could have chosen instead of murder, which I don't understand. But I guess maybe maybe she had also hit her peak, and she was just like, you know what, I'm tired of this guy. This is
too
it.
Do you send somebody like that to prison, or
Like what?
do they somebody like that like with? I guess she has a mental problem.
There's psychiatric wards in prisons as well. So they could definitely send her to a section of the prison specifically for psychiatric people. You know? So if that's what she wants to plead, then she can be on the other side of the prison. But either way, she needs to be locked up.
It's very extreme. I think we've become an extreme people, especially when we don't agree with what other people do. I look at Charlie Kirk, for instance. I didn't agree with a lot of the things he said, especially because he identified, quote unquote, as Christian.
Yeah.
And the foundation of Christian is love. You think about it, of Christianity, I beg your pardon. The foundation of Christianity is love. And I think what he was spewing, and I know for a fact that there's going to be a lot of people watching this thinking, Thabang, you're talking nonsense. You don't know what you're talking about. I actually had a debate with one guy. I didn't agree with a lot of the things he said. But did that mean he must get assassinated?
No.
Definitely not.
I 100% didn't agree with a majority of the things that he had mentioned, especially because he was just a hectic Trumper. But the ideas and the him standing on podiums and basically speaking the way that he spoke, a lot of people don't agree with the way that he managed himself. But the fact that he was assassinated, I don't think was fair. And I think sometimes these ideologies, we need to kind of decide exactly which side of the spectrum we're kind of standing, because some people say, oh, he deserved what he got. Just because he was in favor of gun control doesn't mean he deserves to die. Yeah. Who are you to decide that somebody's life needs to be taken? Sure. I don't think that's fair. Nobody's God. Yes, you might not agree with him, and yes, you can say, well, that's what you get. Maybe getting shot on the arm, sure, that's maybe him, you know, then you can say, hey, but not death. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure it out.
No, I get you, but, you know, like, for me...
I'm not saying it's okay, by the way. I'm just, he didn't have to die. That's essentially what I'm saying.
Sure.
I think for me, the major thing here is, like, if we're being honest, we are products of our societies, right? We're looking at this thing politically. South Africa and America are two different political climates. But I'm just looking at it as the person who assassinated Charlie Kirk is a reflection of America's society. He's just embodying it because he went there with the gun and did the act.
Sure.
You see, so I've had this conversation like multiple times using like maybe not someone who assassinated a political someone, but it's very much easier to align with the Siyakolisi and embrace him or whatever the case when he goes out and does something good. But if someone goes and does something bad, we don't want to claim them. You see, we isolate them. But when they do good, we want to claim them. But they're both products of society. We find the same guy who comes from where Sia comes from, Captain Sia comes from. There's another guy who's doing the complete opposite. So I just think for me, when something like this happens, it's like, okay, Sharp, what's the issue here? You know, he went out and did the act, but he's a reflection of the entire society of America, or like the political space, or like climate rather, of America.
Yeah.
You know, because how many people felt like that, but they didn't do the act, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying what he did is right. Like what you're saying, I'm not saying what he did is right. But I'm just saying, like, he's reflecting the society of America. You know, maybe not 100% of it, but the majority.
So modern Pharisees. So we have modern Pharisees in this world that we live in. So if I don't agree with you, I'm going to kill you.
I'm saying that's
Who are we to decide who
Yeah.
lives and dies?
Yeah.
But I'm speaking to what you're saying.
Yeah.
That the political climate or the American climate
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. What you're basically saying is that is a reflection
Yeah.
of that society. And
Yeah.
I'm saying in this world that we are living in, we're having a lot, or we're seeing a lot of modern Pharisees. Because remember, when you look at the story of Jesus, they killed him because they did not agree
Yeah.
with his ways and
Yeah.
his teachings and what he was saying. So, yeah.
But I think with what she's saying is what gives us that thing to say.
No, we don't have.
We don't have it.
don't.
No, but I don't think we do.
We
Like, I don't
don't.
think
Nobody on this earth has the right to decide who
Yeah.
lives and dies.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair. I just think it's just energies have been escalated. Obviously, there's a lot that's going on in America. Obviously, the political landscape has just gotten a little bit, it's a little bit tense because there's been a lot going on, especially with the police killings and politically with
Yeah.
Trump and changing some of the laws. I think people are just, the tension is extremely high. 100%. And I think it's just created a lot more anger. There's a lot more access to guns. There's a lot more access to freedom of speech and rights. And I can do this because I have the constitutional right to do one A, B, C, D. Having the constitutional right to carry a gun does not mean you have the constitutional right to kill someone. 100%. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I think sometimes there's conflicting ideas because people feel so strongly about something and they say, oh, well, you did this, so I have the right to do that.
Yeah.
And that is where things need to kind of be leveled out a little bit, you know?
Got you. Very interesting. I think let's get into what's popping. Very interesting stuff that I read. Constitutional Court came out with a ruling. So they are saying that fathers are now entitled to the same parental leave as mothers.
Wait, what? What?
Yeah, so
Anyway,
parents,
I'll let you guys chime in. I'll tell you know why.
so parents
Amen.
can now share that time. So it's about, I think, 4 months and 10 days.
Yeah.
So what, they shared 50-50?
Yes.
It depends how you guys want to split it.
I mean, I feel like it's yeah, no, like I feel like going first is gonna
No. I want to understand your thought processes first before I chime in on mine.
Yeah, because for me, I'm like I don't have like, so I don't know like the understanding that goes into the whole leave situation. But if they can divide it, then you can still give the most days to the wife. No, in my
Yes,
like,
you can. You
Yeah.
can decide how you split it up.
Oh,
yes.
okay, cool. Yeah, then I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Are you for it, though?
Yeah, I'm for it because I feel like for that main reason
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that it can be split. I thought maybe like they're saying like men can also stay home for like however long they need to stay. What, 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Like, why is like I don't know.
So the initial rule was 10 days for men.
Yes.
Okay.
For paternity leave, and then women get the 4 months.
Yes.
Now it's been combined to say 4 months and 10 days. So essentially nothing has changed.
Oh,
They've
so
just
nothing has changed for women.
No. So they're saying, no, listen. Initial rule was 4 months maternity leave for women, 10 days for men.
Okay.
Now they are combining the two and they're saying together as parents of the same child, you can now share the 4 months and 10 days, depending on how you want to split it.
Oh,
That's the
then-
ruling.
Yeah, no, nah. Then I'm not for it.
Why are you not for
You're
it?
not for
Because it kind of it's giving nothing is changing. If anything, the men can get more days
Exactly.
out of it, and it's like,
Thabang?
is it a ruling to give men more leave days?
Look, I am for it, but in the same breath, I'm just like, we were talking about it. In the same breath, I'm just like, what's on? What do I mean by that? I am broody. I'm always telling this to my wife.
Yeah.
I'm very broody, but because we're both studying right now, and she only finishes next year with her MBA, we're going to wait. I want to be a dad very badly.
Very badly, it's crazy.
Right?
Sechaba's like, Nappy, count me out.
Very badly.
I really do. And shout out to the millennials. Shout out to this generation. Apparently, they are doing better than the previous generation in terms of fathering. So I want to be a dad very badly, and I really want to be involved. But in the same breath, I work for myself. You know what I mean? I work for myself. So it's not even a thing for me to say, I want to take 1 month off or a month and a half off. Because at the end of the day, I am the provider in my household. Sure, my wife is working, but and you really see it when you get married. Like, I didn't understand it when women say, my money is my money and your money is my money.
100%.
That is so Amen.
I really did not get it. And then I got married. And it's like, that's very interesting. I mean, I asked my wife this one time to go buy juice. And it took her 2 days.
To do what?
To go buy juice.
What?
Because she's not used to doing such things.
Ish, tricky.
What? She doesn't know her PIN number. What? I'm trying to understand. Oh, she doesn't know where her cards are.
No, she does. She knows where her cards are. But it's woman, man.
Yeah.
Because think about it.
Okay.
When you get married, right? Who gives the bride away?
The father.
And what does that entail? He's saying, I'm relinquishing myself of all responsibilities. Here's my child. She's your child now. Yes, she's your wife, but she's also your child. So when you get married, you have a wife and a child.
I don't know how I feel about this, but continue.
So I work for myself, right? So it will be very tricky for me to take off. I would have loved to do that, unless government says, listen, if you're working for yourself, then we can supplement somewhere. You know what I mean? Then at least there's a bit of relief. But also then it's a case of, but you guys are being unfair. You know, you're helping the guys that work for themselves, and us in corporate, we also need the funds. We also need the money. So then it becomes something else. Yeah. So I'm for it if, you know, you really like me as a man and you really wanted to be there and you want to get involved. In fact, if things were different, if I was not working for myself and I was maybe in corporate, I would have said to my wife, take a month off and go back. I'll stay.
So, I'm a little bit on the fence about this 10-day split. And at first, I will admit, I was for it. You know what? All in all, I actually am for it. But I think there need to be some adjustments. Initially, I thought, men are getting their 4 months, women are getting their 4 months.
So too, yeah.
And Bob's your uncle, everybody's at home, we're raising this child together. I thought, great stuff. Because now men will learn how to change nappies, they're going to learn how to wake up at 3 a.m, they're going to feed those babies. Everybody's going to play a fair role in this newborn baby. Especially when brother here is saying he's broody. Oh, you want to be broody, you must wake up at 3 a.m. and feed the child and change the nappies.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody gets to learn how to be with the child, because majority of the time you'll find that men don't know. And I say this because I've experienced it with a lot of my friends who have had children in previous relationships but weren't there in the infant stage of the child's upbringing, because maybe they broke up with the mother of the child, or whatever the case may be, and now they're in new relationships in marriage where they're actually experiencing a newborn from the get-go. And they're like, oh no, I've got 2 kids, I know how to be a father. No, you don't know how to be a father, because now...
Yeah, you know how to catch up.
Now you're going to feel the waking up and the nappies and the doctor visits and everything that gets involved from birth, right? Which I think every man needs to experience. Then you guys are going to stop this thing of, hey, I want 10,000 children. Okay, Father Abraham, just relax. Because it's not that easy, okay?
Oh, wow.
Now,
Father Abraham.
Getting back to the ruling, I disagree on the sharing of the 4 months, because nowadays when women give birth, they're not giving birth naturally. Majority of women are actually giving birth by cesarean, which is a surgery, which means my body needs to heal. I'm not going to heal in 1 month if you want to take the 3 months and we now only have 1 month to get back to work.
Yeah.
My body physically needs to get back to normal.
Yeah.
I need that 4 months for me to get my body
Yeah.
back to normal, number one. Number two, I need to bond with this child and feed them, whether I'm breastfeeding, even if I'm bottle feeding the child. There is a relationship that is being nurtured within that 4 months. So I need to be at home. And it's also the most sensitive time for a child. Have you not noticed when people get married and then the woman says, oh no, I'm going to go be with my mother for 3 months while I raise the child? Initially, in the past, that used to be the thing because your mom used to be able to help you with that 3 months of you learning how to basically raise this child while the man is off in the mines and he's working and he comes home just to do what he needs to do and pop in another baby. But times have changed now, okay? We don't do that anymore. You guys are both in the house, so you both need to learn how to raise this newborn baby, right? And it definitely does take two people because it's exhausting. Babies are crying all the time. They need to be changed all the time. They need constant attention. So the sharing of the time, I 100% agree on, but I think it needs to be extended. The sharing of the 4 months is where I'm saying we can't do that because women need to heal. But I do want men to have paternity leave to then stay home and assist with that time. Whether they get 2 months or 3 months. Sometimes it's also assisting even for single fathers because there are women who are giving up their babies on birth. And maybe the father says, I actually want to be a present father and I'm going to take on then that guy deserves to have that 4 months paternity leave to raise the child. So again, I agree with the ruling. I just think the time needs to be extended. We can't be sharing the 4 months. It needs to rather than be 6 to 8 months. Or the man gets 4 months and you as a woman gets 4 months. And also, when you're at work, how do you then submit it to then say, oh, Mina, I'm taking my 4 months. You submit that to HR. And then your husband works in a different company. Do they speak to each other as companies or what's the conversation?
You know, like the way you're putting it now, like you're putting it in a better context than how I understood this whole thing. You can tell I don't have experience.
That's why I wanted you to chime in first.
No experience, no broodiness.
Nothing.
I just went into it. But with what you're saying, it gives me better context. But also with what he was saying, I've never had the privilege of a leave. You know, so I don't even know what the purpose of it. For me, it has never served me a purpose. I've always had to create my own leave.
Because you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I get that.
So now when you put the context of actually having a baby in the picture, changing diapers and all of those things, I was like, oh no, I was going to do that. But I didn't think that it's like for a person who probably needs to have a leave, they have to have time out to actually be that present, to bond and everything. I wanted to give an example of a friend of mine. When she gave birth for the first time, I don't know what it's called,
postpartum.
Yeah, but like to a point where maybe it's a strong word, like I felt like she resented the baby, you know? And like I felt so bad for her. Like, because I'm saying like this person has to get back
to normal
in her mind before we talk about the physical pain.
Exactly.
Before we even talk about everyday life.
Exactly.
And if you're going to put like 2 weeks to this person, it's like...
When is she going to get back to normal?
She's definitely going to be a mad
So
woman.
majority of the time, postpartum stress is caused by being overwhelmed by babies need all your attention. Like every minute of the day.
Yeah.
And the struggle that comes in when it comes to babies is that men have this idea, and I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying it's a general concept, that men have this idea that women know what they're doing, so they'll be fine on their own. No, we don't know what we're doing, because this is also new to me.
Yeah.
And that's why when women go through postpartum stress, it's a shock factor for men, because they're like, but I thought you knew what you were doing. Yeah. No, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm also experiencing this for the first time. With you. And also, if I'm doing it alone and I'm waking up alone in the morning, I'm feeding this baby's attached to me. Do you realize that when you're breastfeeding, and I'm not shying people away from breastfeeding, but I'm just giving you context as to how attached babies are. Yes, breast milk is better. I 100% agree with that. But do you realize that this person is now attached to you for 6 months of their lives? Yeah. You cannot go anywhere. Because when this person is hungry, you must just and attach. And what if I'm in pain? Because sometimes breastfeeding is painful. for women. So if my breast hasn't healed from the last feeding, I must still, whether I like it or not, this person is hungry and they just want to feed and they need to be attached to me. I don't have personal space. I don't have time to breathe. I don't have time to sleep. I don't have time to think about my own things to get back to normal. And then it's a conversation of, oh, you've been on leave for 3 months. Surely you can get back to work. No, I can't get back to work because I'm still figuring out how to schedule my life while I'm still figuring out how this person actually needs to stay alive, because babies are also all very different. Some are hectic criers in the beginning stages. Some are maybe peaceful babies. Others might be prone to diseases. They might be prone to, very infant illnesses and things like that. You don't know until the baby arrives. And these are all shock factors for everybody involved. So if a woman is dealing with this by herself and then she still has to have a high priority job, at what point am I thinking about your deadlines when I'm thinking about keeping this person alive who's just arrived in my life 2 months ago?
I hear you.
Do you understand? So the stress comes in not because they resent the baby, but it's a question of, I can't do it. I'm overwhelmed. And if a man doesn't come in to assist, she's going to literally combusts, I'm telling you. So that's why I agree with the leave, because you need to share the responsibility. Just because I physically brought the baby into the world does not mean I was in this alone. Your genetics are still in that baby.
Takes two to
Get
tangle.
involved. Get involved.
No, definitely, I agree. Father, I thank you that I'm going to have a peaceful baby.
There you go.
It's still feeling blue.
I am. I'm actually very motivated to be a
Good
dad.
luck.
You know, I think really what you said,
tickle.
it speaks to the reasons why I agree with this ruling. Because women go through a lot. I watched a video of this one couple. They just had a baby, and they were waking up every 5 minutes. Especially the mom. Yes, the dad was helping out, but the mom has to breastfeed. You know what I mean? Every 5 minutes. And you just watching and you're thinking, yo.
And then the older they grow, the older the babies grow, the more detached they can be to the breast, but then it becomes like a comfort factor. It's no longer about the breast milk. Now it's just I would just want something to suck on because I'm a baby and I need to suckle. And then that's why sometimes you'll find some women will breastfeed for 18 months, 2 years, and you're like,
How long is it supposed to be?
Generally speaking, and I'm not speaking from experience because I don't have a child, but I'm saying this from my friends who have kids. 8 to 10 months, you can start weaning the baby off and then getting onto a bottle. I think from 6 months onwards, you can start looking at formula. But there are some kids who have been on formula from day one. My nephew was a formula baby from day one. My sister said she refuses to breastfeed and she's moving with the bottles. And he's a healthy baby. Healthy, growing boy. He's just turned 6 years old and he's never been better. Because formula now has been reproduced in a way that it's actually got all the nutrients you need in a formula. So that's why even for single dads, if you are going to take on the responsibility of raising a child on your own and not having the mother there, you're still well equipped to do everything yourself with formula, because they've produced it in a way that it's actually given you all the nutrients in formula anyway. Yes, breast is best. I'm not going to shy away from that, but formula is no longer as bad as they used to say it was. It's actually much healthier now. Yeah.
It was bad.
No. Well, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad as such. It's just that it wasn't getting as many nutrients as breast milk would give you. But now formula has actually been developed so much so to the point where you actually can raise a baby on formula. Yeah.
Very interesting.
I think Komas, no. It's not, please, don't cheat your babies, I beg of you.
I think Komas, that's wild. That's wild. I wanted us to get into the next story, which is what's happening in Senegal. But I think with our spotlight, there's so much to unpack.
Okay.
So I think maybe let's move to that.
No
you guys
problem.
did see the story, what's happening in Senegal. No. So there's a US-backed initiative that's in Senegal, and it's a school for husbands, basically. So men are being taught how to be husbands, like good husbands.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. I'm for it.
Oh, yeah?
I think, no, 100%. Well, also it depends on what the teachings are. I think we need to kind of.
Giving Russia.
I think we need to find out what are they actually teaching.
Yeah.
But if it's a school for husbands in the sense of teaching men how to be a little bit more responsible, how to be caring, how to be nurturing, because I think a lot of old school thoughts were always about in the house you just need to be a man, you need to provide, you need to only, you know what I mean? And yes, that is a teaching that still needs to be had, but with kind of the thought process of, okay, but how am I being collaborative in my home with a woman, and how are we then taking things to the next stage together, and not necessarily that, okay, I've married you, now you're my slave, because sometimes that can be the thinking in a household, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. Like,
why?
No, because I feel like being a
You're
husband.
already married, don't worry. They're not gonna call you.
I mean, they might be recruiting. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I feel like being a husband isn't an occupation. You know, it's more. I don't think it could be the same for everyone. But like to what you were saying, like, what are they teaching? Because I do believe that probably a lot of us would benefit from being taught on how to be a husband. You know, like the whole thing of like some things are caught, some things are taught. I think we have caught a lot of toxicity, and it's time to learn new things or new methods.
Yes.
You know, and I say this as a person who's had his own fair share of influences when it comes to marriage. You know, I don't think I have like the best, if I can put it that way. You know, and I do believe if there is an institution, or rather sources, like whether it's coming through church or like that institution or whatever the case might be, and it actually is teaching you how to maybe like just things that you overlooked. You see, like, for instance, that conversation of babies for me, like, just gave me so much context. Like, literally just that conversation, or just what you just said. So I think a lot of us, there's a documentary called The People versus Patriarchy that was done and shot here in SA. And, like, there's a lot of people who are still in the same mentality of when it comes to certain things. And it's like, no, but if you were to expose people to more knowledge, or like healthier ways of doing things, like something like that, where the father can also play a role in helping raising the child, or whatever the case, that in its own is a husband responsibility, or a husband, like something a husband can play and inherently make the relationship or the marriage healthier. So if it is teaching, but I don't think it will work in the sense of boarding school, you know, the husbands must be all shipped into one institution.
Yeah.
And they're in a hostel for like 3.
It's not it.
And then I'm like, okay.
What's going on here? Eh?
Yeah.
It's interesting that you guys say that. I actually wanted to ask Cosmo this question. Right? We're talking about husbands and schools for husbands, etc. Do you think, as a woman, you need to leave South Africa or date a different race to be married?
Because it's the bottom.
There's context behind my question, right?
We are at the bottom of the barrel in South Africa.
That's so interesting.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lady, she recently got married. She got married to her Swedish husband. Right? And then you would think she just got married, so she would focus on her husband. But no, she had a lot to say. So she went on social media, and she said that many men in South Africa have been conditioned to be womanizers, that it's been normalized and tied, it's been normalized to be addicted to sex, and that is tied to ego. That South African women who want serious relationships and marriage should consider looking abroad.
Ooh, girl, preach. Anybody who's got a plane ticket for me, I'm ready to get out of here.
Go on. That's crazy.
Look, firstly, I say this to all of my married friends, ne? please, whatever you do, fight for what you have because the streets are cold. Okay? If you have made your decision and you've committed yourself to one person, please stick to that person and make it work. Because where we are, we're at the bottom. However, I will say there is different conversations around the dating pool at the moment. One, the reason why I feel like the dating pool is at the bottom is because men don't know how to court anymore. That's my biggest issue that I'm having. And I'm saying this as a single woman in South Africa. Guti, courting seems to be out the window. People don't know how to share anymore. And that used to be a thing that we used to enjoy as South Africans. Ali share anymore. You guys don't take
Cosmo,
people.
you're single.
100%.
I didn't know.
It's fine. We'll deal with that another day. All right. Men don't know how to share. Men don't know how to take people on dates. Social media has created so much mess that people are very expectant of certain behaviors.
100%.
And that's what's basically made the dating pool an absolute mess because men are very men used to have to work to get what they want, which we all understand. At some point, you want to get into a woman's pants. It's not to say that women don't want to get into a man's pants either, but at least, treat me like a little bit of a lady. Take me out. I'm not necessarily saying you have to buy me flowers every week, but it would be nice. And I don't agree, firstly, and I know I'm going to trend badly for this, but I don't care. I don't believe in the monetary sharing. Just because you send me money now, all of a sudden I owe you a date. No. If you want to e-wallet me, you're e-walleting me out of your choosing. I'm not expecting
No
you to
strings
send
attached.
me money.
How about the Iwa?
I don't know. I'm not saying I do. Careful.
Okay.
Nobody would ever say no to free money. As a human being, you would definitely appreciate an e-wallet for a haircut on a Friday.
Okay.
You understand? So no one's going to say...
From his wife.
No, from anybody. Even if it was yes, currently his wife. But I'm saying if he was single, you would appreciate getting a 500 on a Friday to go and look nice, my baby. Everybody wants free money, right? I'm saying I am not the type of person. I'm not saying other women don't. I don't want you to feel like you want to send me money because that's how because that's what men are doing these days. They think, no, I can buy you this, I can send you this, I can take you here. And because you've done all those things, I now belong to you. I don't want that monetary exchange because that makes me a prostitute.
100%.
You're paying for my time. I want to spend time with you because I want to spend time with you. If you're taking me out, you're taking me out because you want to spend time with me. You're paying for dinner because you want to spend time with me.
Yeah.
Who's to say that I'm not going to return the dinner invite if I like you? At some point, yes, I will return it because we're courting each other. But abantu abasasheli, people don't feel the necessity to then take people out on dates anymore. They don't want to ask people to be their girlfriends. It's now situationships or nothing.
Yeah.
There's no girlfriend proposals or whatever the case may be. And social media has completely ruined the dating pool because now there's DMs, there's expectations, there's men who just call at 3 a.m. and they expect you to pick up the call. Aibo, I don't belong to you.
Yeah.
I can't just jump up just because now you're at the club, you've had a few drinks, now you remember me. Please.
Yeah.
Can you call me during the day like a human being?
Yeah.
And ask how I'm doing.
And
Not this expectancy of, no, sex is the only factor because now we've decided to be in a situationship. Now I can no longer have the title of a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people are my friends who I know are quality women who are single purely because they're choosing not to be caught up in situationships. And that's what men are choosing to go with because it's easier for them.
Yeah.
There's less expectation. As a boyfriend, I must do this, I must do that, I must do this. As a situationship, I can call you at 2 a.m. and I don't have to call you at midday because I'm told now. At the bottom. Anyway, I don't think that's a South African thing. I think it's a men thing.
I wanted to ask.
Because I do know a lot of women who are complaining about the same behaviors internationally, whether it's the UK or America or whatever the case is. But I do think there are places and countries where men are taught to court because that's what they culturally that's what they're taught. This is how you treat a woman. Whereas in South Africa it's melubuye indoda hambe usebenza ulethi imali and then get a girlfriend, knock her up, keep it moving. Because men have this idea of legacy and babies and this is all, I'm only good for what's in my pants and that's it. That's where the problem is coming in from a South African standpoint. But I think culturally, maybe in Europe, they might be taught how to court a little bit more. And that is my concern when it comes to the dating pool. So I agree with her from that perspective. But I do think it's a global issue. I think dating, generally speaking, wherever you are in the world,
dating pool is
the bottom.
Bleak.
The absolute bottom.
What do you think, bro?
No, I definitely agree with what you're saying. And if it's...
Yes, it's fine. I'll fill it up later.
Yeah, but like I do also believe in conditioning because for me, when we talk about the whole thing of dating and courting culturally, when I was back at home, I didn't know half of the things I was introduced when I got to Joburg. Like for instance, I didn't know calling someone over was a thing. Hey, come to my place. I didn't know that. Like I honestly didn't know
Netflix and chill.
I didn't know that before I came to Joburg. Like I was from home. I could never ask for a girl to come at home. So whenever we had to do anything we had to do it in public.
Yes.
And because you're doing it in public, you behave a certain way. You are conditioned to approach things a different way. Wabo. So the moment I came here, it's like, ain't nobody care a damn. Wabo. So now we're just doing whatever we want to do. I'm going to bring something like a personal experience that once happened and it changed. I was still very early in Joburg. I think, very early, but like 2015, 2016. I was still very early. Now, I don't remember when exactly, but like I was starting to talk to this girl, right? And she came over. Like she came, it was a Friday, she came over, wabo. And then towards the end of it, because at the time I still stayed with my sister. So this whole thing of a girl coming over is still like hey, what am I doing?
Taboo.
Wabo. And then I'm not hearing her talking about leaving. And I'm like, what's going on here? What's going on? Because me, I've already bought food and I don't have money to buy more food.
For this person?
Yeah, for this person. My budget was saying today and we're here. And then she did insinuate or like make it clear for you, I am going to sleep over. And I was like, now I'm having questions and I'm, all of these things. And as a person, like I said, I didn't know anything about it. Sharp, we move on. And then she stayed over and whatever. I so happened to stumble on her toiletry bag and she had like protection. And I was like, okay, now, surely this is due for conversation because all of this is new to me. I had to sit her down and be like, yo, dude, and like, what were you expecting out of all of this? I don't know you, you don't know me. We're still trying to know each other and whatever the case might be and all of that. And she was like, literally just blatantly honest about it. I'd be like, hey man, I just honestly thought we were gonna smash. And that's it. And from there, it's like, oh, okay, maybe that's the culture here. And then because the culture here allows for that, then everybody gets into that mindset. Because now after that, I'm like, oh.
You don't have to work for it.
Oh, Joao Fair, I can just be like, Zoral, wabo. And from there, it's like, okay, sharp. You can imagine how many people go through that, both genders, female and male, where it's like a thing out here. The lines that when you grow up or what you know have been there, and they just started being blurred now. It's like, whatever, it's whatever. So the whole thing of like the dating pool being the bottom, I think we've curated it based on the conditioning of where we are. And therefore, we all have a part to play in it, But it's so easy to just be like, distance yourself and be like, dating pool, because for some parts, the coldness of the dating pool is curated by married people.
100%.
You understand? And it's like, oh no, but you keep saying the dating pool is a mess, but you are out here messing it up for other people who are single. You are married.
Exactly.
So what do you say about that?
There's nobody more single than a married man.
Stand
by it.
You see what I mean? Now I'm about you.
I say this because I see it every weekend as a DJ.
Yeah.
There's plenty married men who you look at and you're just like, but were you not posting your wife just on Tuesday? Now it's Friday and you are...
Yeah. I've been in the same space
Tricky.
as you, and as a person that's usually on camera, I have men all the time coming to me and be like, "Hey, hot money, please don't want that." You know, you end up, you get there, you shooting, and you probably have to get rid of half of the
content.
the content that you have. You're like, okay, what am I working with here? So
Tricky.
I think that the inverse also happens. I think we see it with a lot of women as well. And I speak from when I was still single. I think women are really just willing to give it up.
Yes.
Like so quick. People don't aspire anymore. You know, people don't aspire to be this, to be that, and the other anymore. I think we live for now, and that's it. And just reflecting on my journey with my wife, and I've said the story so many times. My wife made me wait. I waited for 20 months.
Wow. Whoa. Okay.
I know it's a shocker.
Yes.
You're thinking, yo. Yeah. My wife made me wait. And it was tough. It was,
Good on her.
yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. But the funny thing is, the interesting thing is, as we were getting closer to our wedding date, it's like she started to get weak. So I then had to be strong for the both of us. But I think that entire journey taught me one thing, that lust takes and love gives. You know what I mean? And I don't think you want to be consumed by lust, which is what's happening in the South African streets right now.
Yeah.
It's just lust. People don't care. You know, Twitter X, it traumatizes me. You know, oftentimes I think I want to delete this app. But as people who produce content, etc., as people who want to know what's happening in and around the world, I think it's a good platform to have.
Yeah.
But I think in the same breath, it's like what happens there, it's just crazy. People can literally post their details right now. This is where I'm living. This is the hotel that I'm in. Come through. Just put it out there on Twitter. You know, and it's a spirit of lust that I'm seeing, and I'm just thinking to myself, yo. So I find it very interesting that it's not just a man thing.
Yeah.
But it's a woman thing. Yes, sure, in terms of ratio, it's different, right? You find a lot of men doing it. But I found that women are very sly. You know, women know how to hide things. People often say, you will never know when a woman is cheating.
100%.
How about the confidence?
Hey, you said that was so much further.
Do you know what it is? No, actually, I take it back. You will know when a woman is cheating because at some point she'll also kind of change her behavior.
Yeah.
Right? It just, men are not sitting and paying attention to her change in behavior. If you're in a relationship, you'll probably find that maybe you'll think, she's in a bad mood. Let me just give her 2 minutes or whatever. And generally speaking, I think as humans, we've got our tells when we're cheating or when we're doing something that is not normal within the scope of our relationship.
Yeah.
I just think we know how to take things to the grave. We know how to be quiet about things. We're not going to sit and brag about things. Men like to brag because what is leading most of your personalities, and I'm saying this in a general space, is that majority of men are driven by ego and by power. And sometimes that ego and power is taken on by being able to say to someone, oh, I was with this person last week. Oh, I was with that person. No, because that's what it is. It's about being able to conquer someone to then say, this is where I'm sitting at the moment, gents, or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because for men, it's about bragging rights. Whereas for women, it's not necessarily about bragging rights. But when women actually cheat, generally speaking, it's because they're not being fulfilled in whatever space that they're in. Yeah. So if you as a man are fulfilling a woman completely, she won't really find the need to actually go out and cheat with somebody else. Yeah. But if she's not being fulfilled emotionally, financially, or whatever is driving her sexually, she will then go and seek it elsewhere. But because she knows what she's doing is wrong, she's going to kind of keep it to herself. And that's kind of where they say you'll never know when a woman is cheating, because she's able to kind of keep it to herself a little bit more. I'm not bragging to everybody about this is what I'm doing. Sometimes even her own best friends don't know that she's cheating because she might be ashamed sometimes.
There's no verbal diarrhea.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But about the accessibility and women also wanting it just as much as women do, I agree with that as well. Because women we also have hormones. We also get aroused. We also want sex just as much as men do. But it's in the how we actually get it is, I think, a little bit different. And that's how we are then, men are viewed differently to women with regards to the accessibility of getting the sex. But I do think your point earlier where you're saying that when you were at home, you were living at home, so you thought everything needed to be public, also goes back to how we used to interact with each other in the past. There were no cell phones. There was no social media. You had to go out and meet people. You had to go and share. You had to then say, okay, let's meet at this place at this time and arrive together and go on a date, because the accessibility was limited. Now, social media makes it easier for you to be like, you want this? I want this. Okay, we don't have to go on a date. We can just meet up and go to a hotel or come to my place, because now we've got apartments or whatever the case is. And I think that's what's made it less stringent for people to actually get what they want out of each other. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's the landscape we're in right now. And that's why I'm saying I think it's a global thing, because the internet has just made everything just so available in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask something. There's this uncomfortable question of how women might, whether consciously or not, contribute to the patterns that they are frustrated with. Through what, because a lot of women I've learned, you guys tolerate a lot. You reward the bottom of the barrel. What? And you
Red flags? What are those?
And oftentimes you guys stay silent about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted us to actually touch on that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, a lot of women tolerate a lot of things, and we try our best to turn red flags into orange flags. I don't know why, but there's nothing. A lot of women actually like to have that thing where we take on these projects and we feel like we can change someone into the better. Girl, ain't nobody gonna change. Nobody's gonna change unless they want to change, because change comes from within. If a man wants to change, he will change. If he doesn't want to change, it's gonna be the same red flag you saw in the beginning. Nothing is going. But the reason we do that, the reason we tolerate, is also because culturally we've been taught to begazela.
Yeah.
So ukubegazela has come from way back culturally in whichever space you're in, whether in South Africa it's a thing. And what frustrates me also is even in marriage, you know, where the older women have the chat with the new bride, and they have the conversation to say, okay, you're a wife now.
Yes.
Let's teach you how to be a wife. Ooh, there's nothing that annoys me more than that conversation. Because our Koko will come in and tell you, hi, mele ube umfazi. You must give it up when he says he wants it. You must take it when he says he wants to take it. When he's angry, you must just let him be angry. When you must do the dishes, you must do this. We're no longer in 1655, okay? We're in 2025, guys. If you want me to share the bills in this house, then we are then sharing the responsibilities, which also means you need to treat me like an equal. 100%. There's none of this I belong to you situation, you know, because we're coming into this marriage together. But I think that thing of ukubegazela is where that drives from, where we tolerate a lot of stuff. Yes, we keep quiet because we're also thinking, oh, who's going to marry me if I leave him? I'm stuck in this relationship now. Let me try and make the most of it. Why are we doing that when you can also leave and find somebody who's going to treat you better? I don't believe in ukubegazela. I give you one opportunity. You show me once your cards, I say, okay, keep you and your cards. I'm out of here.
One. Chassis.
Do you know why? You know what?
You're not Jesus.
No, I'm not. But with experience, I've also been taught that, you know, fool me once.
Shame on you.
Fool me twice, I'm out of here. I'm a believer in second chances. But sometimes that second chance also breeds a lot of distrust. Because if you've if you've
100%.
cheated on me once, I no longer trust you. I am now then becoming the monster who is constantly second guessing you, asking you where you are, what time are you coming home, going through your phone, checking this, checking that, not believing where you are, asking your friends what's happening. I've become the monster in the relationship because you cheated.
Yeah.
And that's already now turned the scales on the relationship. Do you understand? So it makes it very difficult to come back from that situation. And it's not to say that I'm being strict, but I'm also understanding on how I change because you cheated. And I don't want that.
Sech,
That's crazy.
let's land the plane. What are your thoughts?
On?
This woman tolerating, staying silent about
Yeah.
rewarding the bare minimum.
Yeah, bro. I completely agree with you. And for me, like, I'm very like cultural in at least the way I approach a lot of things in life. You know, I always try and go back, at least because I don't have a reference here. I'm not from here. But so most of the time I try to go back to what I know or whatever the case might be. And it's really that, like the whole concept of mamela. Mamela. You know, like whatever a man does, mamela, you know, like there are even girls who are called mamelo. But we get it. I'm not saying anything today, but yeah, like so
I know not to name my child there.
but I just genuinely have seen it, you know, like most of the time we talk about spiritually, we talk about generational curses or generational cycles. I often say you'll never know how to stop one if you don't know what your family's generational cycles have been, you know, because oftentimes people who do that, they come from a family that did that.
Yes.
You understand? So if you come from a family of, let's say your great-great-grandmother, I'm mamela nonsense, then chances are also yours are also reduced. You know, that documentary I was talking about earlier, they highlighting GBV. Most of the women that come out and speak there, they're literally saying, hey man, my great-grandmother was beaten by her husband. My grandmother was beaten by her husband. My mom was beaten by her husband. Now my husband is beating me. That's all I know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're not gonna come here and convince me and tell me he doesn't love me. No, he loves me. And you're like, oh,
Yeah, like what's this?
what do you mean? You know? So what I'm saying is like that whole conditioning, if it's taught at a fundamental level, then it's really like it's there. Like you can't do anything about it. But if we act like it's not there, then it's always gonna be there. It's gonna be persistent. So I don't think it's much of rewarding it, but it's much like a thing being used to it. You know, like you're so used to it, you're conditioned for it. It's how you know life to be. To you, it makes sense more like that. You know, I wanted to go back to the whole dating pool being cold. And literally, whenever you go to a pool, you'll feel like it's cold. Like if you stick your foot for like 5 seconds, it's gonna feel cold. But I promise you, if you immerse your body in it for longer, it's not gonna be that cold. And I feel like there's not enough people who are willing to immerse themselves, because there are guys.
So you're saying I must stick my foot into an ice cold bath and I must just stick it out in begezele because at some
No,
point
I'm
it's
not
gonna
saying
warm up.
Begazela. So what I'm saying is, with the whole concept of a pool being cold, is that you find Hori, you don't want to jump. You want to jump into the pool. You're invited to a pool party.
Yes.
We're having a good time here because we're like, here's a party. Here's a party. You want to enjoy the party,
Yeah.
right? You're not gonna turn back and be like, the pool is cold. I'm going home, right? It's like, okay, Sharp, how do I still not have my own fun or enjoy the wabo?
Yes.
So where I'm coming from is we have reduced as a society, or whatever you want to call ourselves, conglomerate, the capacity at which a person can actually be like, let me hear him out, or let me hear her out, you know, based on the things that we've experienced. Because I'm like you, Linda, like or maybe let me not say I'm like you, but like the experiences I've had
Yes.
have made my tolerance very low,
very low.
wabo, to a point where from a mile you just like wabo. So we're not even gonna go to this pool party.
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's just where I am. So I don't think it's much of a thing of being at a place where we reward these, because I feel like rewarding is like, if you're being cheated, you like, thank you, you did very well. But the concept of staying after that is like, but why would you stay though?
Yeah, look, I think people do reward it. I've seen people who, when they find out that they've been cheated on, one would actually go on a shopping spree to go and buy the husband or the boyfriend something, because you're thinking all of this is going to make him love you more. And I think I'm speaking from that point of view, right? But I think a lot has been said, and I think just to land the plane, taking into consideration what you guys have said, what I'm going to say is I've learned that the power of one's miracle or blessing is not just in the miracle itself, but also in the environment that surrounds the blessing or the miracle. And I say that based off of the story of Jairus and his daughter, right? Jairus, the child is sick, and Jairus runs to Jesus and he says to him, listen, there's something wrong with my child. Can you please come to my house? Right? Jesus obliges and they go to Jairus' house. But on the way, the woman with the issue of blood then comes and interrupts everything. But long story short, they end up getting to Jairus' house. And as they get there, the Bible talks about how some of the people in the house were weeping and wailing, right, and lamenting. And Jesus literally had to say, get out, before he went upstairs to the girl and said, get up. So I've learned that for certain things to get up in our lives, certain things need to get out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think people should have like that lens and that perception, because people think that when they are in relationships, like that is their identity. And that's why you find that a lot of people will then beg as a lot of people will then reward certain things, but it's like, hey man, yes, it's not easy, but like, get out of this thing, and you'll see like certain things will start to get up.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's twofold as well. Not to make it all about like how men only are, the monsters in the relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, women cheat too. Women do their thing too. And I do think sometimes it's also important to also kind of understand that it's a two-way street on this conversation, and I think communication will always be what will save the relationship, as opposed to it getting to a point of the cheating or what is lacking or what needs to be done. Because I think there's a lot of expectancy that's happening in relationship, but there's no communication that's happening. So it's about us talking about it and sitting and say, okay, what is our direction? We've decided we're dating now. You've popped the question, I'm your girlfriend, sharp. What are we doing?
Yeah, guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of assumption that's happening in the dating pool. And that assumption is what is breaking relationships down. Because there's an assumption that, okay, no, we're just sleeping with each other. Then the girl is sitting there waiting for a girlfriend proposal. That time the guy's thinking, oh, I've got 3 other girls I need to call for this weekend. Because we haven't had the conversation. But if we have decided we are together, what direction are we taking? How are we moving forward? As opposed to, oh, he didn't buy me flowers this week. Oh, but he didn't know he had to buy you flowers. Do you know what I mean? It's that breaking communication. So I think that is the standpoint where we need to start and say, how are we building to move forward to then get rid of the noise and the bad energy and then move forward together. But, everybody can say things in theory.
Yeah.
It's in practice that's the problem. But let's try it out.
True. All right, guys. We can land, right? Yeah. Sech, you want to land close for us?
No, I just want to see Miss Cosmo be Mrs. Cosmo. And go into
Be Mrs. Cosmo. Young Shatisa. Aye, please.
I just don't want you to. I want you to go into the dating pool.
Yeah. I'm in it. Look, I'm trying myself out, but there's nobody official right now.
Got you.
And I will be a single lady until Home Affairs knows that I've signed on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Sheesh. But yeah, for me, honestly, with all the things that we've been saying, I think just be cognizant of the product that your circle is making you to be. Because at the end of the day, that issue of that lady from Sweden, I think, she said it's a global thing, and understanding that you can be as close to a person who's in Sweden in SA.
Yeah.
And you can actually be as further from a person in SA as a person in Sweden. But depending on the the circle that you have or the company that you keep, you just have to be cognizant of what thoughts they at least
definitely
making you think, or at least leaving you making you lean towards.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Really enjoyed spending time with you guys. Please remember to, subscribe.
Yes.
Yeah, subscribe, like, share with your world as well. Join the conversation. Tell us what you think about the pod. Until next time. Peace.